Hello and welcome to Eurosport. You join us for the 2000 season with a new venue for the first round of the Tissot-sponsored cross-country mountain bike World Cup. We are still in Napa Valley in America, but we have moved 10 miles away up to Domaine Chandon. This is a vineyard about 10 miles away, as I said, from Skyline Park, the old venue. And the riders we're looking at now coming up to the start line. Alison Seidel, the winner of the World Cup last year, Laurence Leboucher. Gary Fisher squad very strong today. Paola Pezzo, Chrissy Redden and M.Grigson. This is Laurence Leboucher, the 1998 world champion. In the new strip for GT this year, much more blue in that. 80 riders in this women's race. They do 2 start loops, 5 full laps. The start loop's roughly about 1.5 miles long. The full loop about 4.28 miles. There you go, 6 kilometers, 6.9 kilometers, and the start loop 1.7. Total distance 37k, and already we're with the leading group away from that start, and it's Alison Seidel and M.Grigson and Paola Pezzo. World champions, all 3. Alison Seidel, 3-time world champion. Paola Pezzo in the middle there, in the slightly different colours to her 2 teammates. The Gary Fisher rider, the Saab Gary Fisher rider, in a pink outfit. Usually it's predominantly yellow and red. Now looking at Annabella Stroparo, the teammate of Volvo Cannondale Pro, Alison Seidel, the winner of the World Cup last year in 1999. Second place rider last year was Gunrita Dala, then it was Annabella Stroparo. They wear the numbers. Stroparo wearing 3. That's where she came in the World Cup last year. And the leading group already at the front of this women's race. Laurence Leboucher coming up to this group. Looks like 3. Paola Pezzo is there. And 3 Gary Fisher riders. Brilliant riding from this team. They are so strong for the 2000 season. An Italian, an Aussie and a Canadian. I think Gary Fisher are actually hedging their bets here. So there's the World Championships this year, and of course there is the big one, the Olympics. This course very dusty, moving up through the vineyard. Temperature roughly about 21 centigrade. Not much wind, very sunny. Very nice place to ride as well. In some ways quite similar to Skyline Park, a lot of single track here, and important to get to the front as this woman, the Gary Fisher rider, the Saab Gary Fisher rider, M.Grigson in the lead at the moment. She's being chased hard by world champion from 1999, Margherita Fujana. Now riding, she is riding for Specialized, but it's now sponsored by Subaru this year, as opposed to Mountain Dew. And on her tail, Alison Seidel, the #1 rider from last year. Paola Pezzo there, as I stated before, in the pink of Gary Fisher, as opposed to the yellow and red of her teammate M.Grigson in the lead now. This is good riding from Grigson. Best position was last year in the Australian round of the World Cup. She came second to Alison Seidel. She is actually a Kiwi, but she's now a naturalised Australian. Oh, I say she is a Kiwi. That was where she was born in New Zealand. She's now a naturalised Australian and will be aiming for the Olympics in September. And this is good riding from her, being chased now by Alison Seidel in the white and blue of Volvo Cannondale. Fujana, the world champion, on her tail. Paola Pezzo, there's not really that much difference from 1999. In fact, you could go back a couple of years, apart from this woman, M.Grigson, you could go back a couple of years and say that it's always the leading contenders, but no Gunrita Dala, the woman who was second in the World Cup last year and pushed Seidel so hard. We haven't seen Seidel so far. In fact, Seidel is going to have to ride really hard to try and catch this woman, M.Grigson, the Gary Fisher rider. She was taken on by the team for the beginning of this year in 2000. Rode previously for the Australian Institute of Sport in 99, 98 and 97. And this is the chasing group. They have joined up now. It's Seidel, Fujana, Chrissy Redden, Pezzo, Dunlap and Barbara Blatter is in there as well. Blatter having a great season last year and coming into this one very strong indeed. But it's Grigson leading out now. She really has taken the bull by the horns. A lot of these riders are taking part in the pre-season races like the Sea Otter Classic and the Redlands Bicycle Classic, the road stage race before this event. And it looks like Alison Dunlap has broken away from that chasing group. She is now 124 down on M.Grigson, the GT rider who came 6th in the Sea Otter. She probably would have come higher but for a problem in the Sea Otter the week before this event. But M.Grigson riding very well indeed. This course very dusty. As I said, it's about 4 miles, give or take, 0.2 a tenth here or there. But a tough climb there. And it looks like another chase group now being led out by Chrissy Redden, former Ritchie rider. She changed teams for this year. Sidor there and Petso. Well, that is a very good chasing group, and Grigson will have to go hard. But this course, there's a lot of single track here. And in fact, going back to the start-finish loop, and it looks like Margarita Fiana, she's saying, no, it looks like she's going to abandon. I think she's got a puncture. Yep, look at that rear wheel. So prevalent on this course, and I think if once we go back to M.Grigson, in fact, the Saab Gary Fisher riders, you look at their bikes, and M.Grigson is riding a full suspension mountain bike. If she keeps this up, wow, it will be the first time a full sus bike has won a cross-country round of the World Cup. I don't think this GT rider Alison Dunlap is actually riding the iDrive bike. Don't think she is. She has tried the full suspension, but not today. But she's alone in second at the moment, chasing hard on M.Grigson. And Alison usually starts the season so well. In fact, she won at Skyline Park in Napa Valley last year. Had a great ride there. She always starts very well. Goes well in the Sea Otter. Goes well in the Redlands Bicycle Classic, as does this woman, Alison Sidor. But Sidor usually actually tempers her form a little bit. She doesn't like to go too hard too soon because she knows this season is so long. But M.Grigson doesn't care how long this season is, because the number 7 rider from 1999 in the World Cup is coming to the line now, and she is going to take her first ever World Cup win. The Saab Gary Fisher rider crosses the line. What a great race. 1:56.17. My word, that is good riding from the Australian. Good teamwork too from the Saab Gary Fisher team. And it looks like Alison Dunlap consolidating that second spot. She's happy. She's very good in these first rounds. First last year, second this year. Alison always gives it her all. And it looks like another Alison, the winner of the World Cup in 1999 and 1998, comes across the line in 3rd spot as we go to her teammate Annabella Strobaro way down. Surprising, really. The Italian national champion. Last year they rode so hard together, and I think possibly get the Saab Gary Fisher riders have taken a leaf out of the Volvo Cannondale books, and Petso comes in for 4th spot and Chrissy Redden for 5th.
I turned to my teammates, Paola and Chrissy Redden, and Chrissy suggested to me that I should try and get away on a climb, a technical climb. I had a go at it, it paid off, and of course once I was on the descent I knew that I would be pulling time on the group because descending's more my strength.
Well, there you have confirmation of that result. M.Grigson, her first ever World Cup win. Dunlap in second, Seidel third, Petso fourth, Redden fifth, and Laurence Le Boucher in 6th spot. Brilliant riding from Grigson there. We're taking a very short break. Join me after that as we look at the winner, the first-time winner.
The Mountain Bike World Cup with the Volvo V70 cross-country all-wheel drive.
Welcome back to Eurosport with me, Mark Bicycle, for the men's race here as we look at Miguel Martinez, the guy who came 2nd in last year's World Cup. This is the guy who came 6th, Thomas Frischneck, the man who has won 3 World Cups, more than any other rider, 4 silver medals at the World Championships. What a stalwart of World Cup racing. There is a former world champion as well, Christophe Dupuy, the 1998 world champion. That is the current world champion, Michael Rasmussen, now riding for the Harrow Lee Dungarees team. And this race for the men, 7 laps for them, 2 start loops, and as per usual, they storm out. I'll say it again, like I always tend to say it, do they fly around out of the start. There you go, 2 start loops, 7 full laps, total distance of 51.68 kilometres It's going to be hard, fast and furious and very difficult to breathe. It's quite warm now. The dust actually doesn't look too bad, really, does it? But already Miguel Martinez setting out his stall, being chased hard about 50 metres down on this little climb here by Philip Meerhager, another guy who loves to go out hard. Sits right on the front of the bike. Thomas Frischneck on his tail with a decorative bike there. And that looks like Luca Bramati, the former Specialized rider, now riding for Scott, and Marco Bouet, Miguel Martinez's teammate, being chased hard up the hill by Bas van Doren, the number 4 rider, and Michael Rasmussen, the world champion, on his tail. Good view there of the scenery here in the Napa Valley at Domaine Chandon. This really is a lovely course. Probably not quite as steep and as technical downhill as Skyline Park, but there is a lot of single track. But the leader at the moment, Miguel Martinez, the full dynamics rider, being chased hard now by Philip Meerhager, the 2-time winner of a World Cup round, still riding for Subaru Specialized. He's being chased by the Richie Yahoo rider of Thomas Frischneck. There's Luca Bramati, Marco Bouet going through, Bas van Doren, Michael Rasmussen. What a race we have here. Rolf Paulsen as well, the GT rider. Paulsen switching over to GT this year. Miguel Martinez, always a favourite for the World Cup. He's actually had a very quiet beginning, as is that man, Philip Meerhager. He's not chasing hard, as I said. Dusty, isn't it? Wow. I know some of these riders do have problems with their breathing. I know Meerhager does. Sometimes he suffers from a little bit of asthma. I know Jerome Ciotti, the former GT rider, now riding for Giant, he has sinus and breathing problems sometimes, and it looks like Miguel Martinez, is he waiting for Meerhager? Look round on that corner, and I'm not surprised really, because Meerhager is a supremely powerful rider. If he has a weakness, it's on the real steep climbs. That man Frischneck doesn't really have a weakness. In 3rd spot, leading out there, I think that was Luca Bramati, and it looks like Philip Meerhager has called up Miguel Martinez, and Martinez, as per usual, being very demonstrative, telling Philip Meerhager to come on by. He's even talking to him, always does this, every single race he rides. He's so dynamic, such a dynamic personality, always wants to win. I was actually saying that Martinez had a quiet winter for him. He didn't take part in the Cyclocross World Championships. I think that is because there is the Olympics and the Worlds this year. Big group chasing now, though, as we go fast and furiously to the disco flyover. This is about 1.5 miles into the lap. Well, it was about 1.5 miles into the lap as we go back to Michael Rasmussen, now caught hold of Miguel Martinez. And I'm hearing that Philip Meerhager has actually pulled out. I think he's pulled out. There's Martinez, and Bas van Doren has got up there. I wasn't quite sure who that 3rd rider was, and it is indeed Bas van Doren, as we look at Luca Bramati and Rolf Paulsen as well. Rolf Paulsen, that GT strip, is very similar to a lot of other strips. It's difficult to tell now. That's what you have now, Rasmussen, Bas van Doren and Miguel Martinez. Rasmussen really did ride out of his skin at the Worlds last year. He was with this man in that race for such a long time and actually dropped him on a climb at the World Championships. That was a surprise. The only international race that Rasmussen has won, well, I wouldn't say the only one, but the big one that he's won, World Championships, hasn't won a World Cup round. He'd love to do that now, as we see Roberto Lozon going through, the former Road Pro, the former Banesto Pro, indeed. In fact, he won the Ruta del Sol way back in 1991. This man didn't.
Let him go through.
But he's riding very hard now. Michael Rasmussen, he does have the tendency, though, to blow up in races. He had a dreadful 1998, came back to form in 1999, as did Thomas Frischneck. Similar sort of scenario for Frischneck. He was 22nd in the World Cup in 98, but back to 6th in 99. As we go to the leaders, Martinez, Van Doren and Rasmussen working well together on this fast section of the course. Bas van Doren looking very slim indeed, very, very fit. In fact, Rasmussen equally so. Roughly about the same height, about 5'10", about 180, 179 centimetres, 1.79 metres, not 179 centimetres. They'd be very small, wouldn't they? But Bas van Doren, so lean. Oh, and that's Rolf Paulsen. I think he's got a problem there. He's got a rear A rear puncture, I think it was. Just managing to fix that. Unlucky for Paulison, 4th place rider in the Worlds last year. Beaten by teammate Philip Meerhager. Into 3rd spot as the leaders. Now Luca Bramati has got up to Rasmussen, Van Dooren and Martinez. Bramati, a former winner of the Skyline Park race back in 1997. These 4 leaders in the lead at the moment. We're taking a short break. Welcome back to Eurosport with me, Mark Biesiegel. We are watching the leaders now, and it looks like Bas Van Dooren has broken away from his 2 erstwhile companions, Miguel Martinez and Michael Rasmussen. And as I said, Rasmussen seeming to run out of energy now, and I'm surprisingly as well, Miguel Martinez looking a little tired, or looking like he's very difficult up that climb. As I said, Michael Rasmussen riding for a new team this year, the Harrow team, rode for Gary Fisher last year and Trek VW the year before that. But this man, Bas Van Dooren, has been riding for B1 now for a couple of seasons. In fact, this is his 3rd season with B1. Joined them in 1998. And what a great year that was for him. He went from 44th in the World Cup the previous year to 7th in 98. And he has got better and better. 4th last year. And he's already won the Sea Otter Classic at the beginning of this season. That was a week before today's event. Bas Van Dooren and Miguel Martinez look like they've dropped Michael Rasmussen. I did say it, that Rasmussen does have a tendency to blow in a race if he goes out too hard, and he has done that here. How unfortunate for Rasmussen. 32 seconds now behind Miguel Martinez and Bas Van Dooren. Van Dooren so strong. He won the Sea Otter Classic by a mile. A 3-stage mountain bike race. They have a time trial, a dirt criterium and a cross-country race. He was 1st, 2nd and 1st in those events. No surprise really that he won it. In fact, he only came 2nd in the dirt crit because his back wheels slipped out and he was beaten in the sprint by Michael Rasmussen, the man they've just dropped. But Bas Van Dooren taking on some super sticky, gooey carb drink. Wow, he looks even thinner than he was last season. Looking very fit. This man is determined, and I must add, actually, it was rather remiss of me, I must add Michael Rasmussen, as we see him 41 seconds down on the leaders. Cadel Evans, the winner of the World Cup last year, and in fact the winner of the World Cup in 98 as well, not in the race today. He broke his collarbone in the street race on Friday night a couple of days ago. He broke a collarbone that he'd broken earlier in the season in the Tour Down Under road stage race, and re-broke it in that street race in the Napa village town, should I say, it's not a village. The Napa town centre. Most unfortunate for the Volvo Cannondale Pro. So he's not going to be riding, well, he's not riding this race today, and he won't be riding in Mexico next week. But we are now looking at Bas Van Dooren really putting the hammer down. Miguel Martinez struggling to keep up with him. Van Dooren riding a hardtail, Miguel Martinez riding a hardtail, but he is riding semi-slicks. I think Van Dooren is riding knobblies, and we're looking at a surprise rider in 3rd spot at the moment, Marcel Heller, 1 minute 15 down on the leader, Bas Van Dooren. Where on earth did Heller come from? 70th in last year's World Cup, didn't do the Worlds. Miguel Martinez and Bas Van Dooren, I'm sure, will be very surprised to hear that Rasmussen is and has gone backwards and has been overtaken by Marcel Heller, the Swiss rider, the Arrow Swiss team rider. That's the team that he rides for. It's the Swiss national team. They ride Arrow bikes.
Right back.
And that is a surprise. And this is Rasmussen, the world champion, being chased hard now. He's 2 minutes 5 seconds down now. Wow, that is a big gap, and he looks tired. Dusty as well. And I think that was Miguel Martinez's teammate, Marco Bue, I think it was, a full Dynamics rider, as these two riders once again combined together. The tiny, diminutive Miguel Martinez sitting like Philip Meerhager on the front of his saddle. Meerhager has been confirmed as dropping out with an asthmatic problem. Bas Van Dooren hasn't got a problem, has he? Wow, looks super comfortable, doesn't he? Martinez sitting up there for a little bit of light relief. Looks like his back's hurting, actually, just cresting the brow of that slight incline as we go to number 63 rider, the Arrow Swiss national team rider, Marcel Heller. What a ride! Unbelievable. He really has. I mean, his previous best World Cup ride was way back in 1996 in Leger when he was 9th, but he's had nothing like that since. In fact, this will be a full professional year for him. As we look at Bas van Dooren, I'm talking about Heller, not looking too hard at the pictures, and in fact, Bas van Dooren has put a big gap into Miguel Martinez. Martinez looking very tired indeed. This is a struggle for the little Frenchman. What a shame for him, being egged on by Paolo Rosalo, his team manager there. Miguel Martinez has been dropped big time by Bas van Dooren, and it looks like Heller has been caught by Roland Green. My word, 2 riders, you look at their bikes, 2 riders on full suspension bikes. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the World Cup rounds to come. Marcel Heller and Roland Green, the GT rider, he zips past Heller. Roland Green coming off of a win at the long team qualifying race at the beginning of March. Used to ride for Kona, now riding for GT. But Bas van Dooren in a class of his own. He was in a class of his own at the Sea Otter Classic. That race held in conjunction, is a mountain bike stage race, held in conjunction with a road stage race. Martinez didn't do that though. It might have done him a little bit of good to have done it, but he wants to peak, I'm sure, for the Worlds and the Olympics. A lot of riders will be doing that, I'm sure. You look at some of the top riders in the women's and the men's. We didn't see some of them in the women's. We're not seeing a great deal of some of them in the men's. Bas van Dooren, I think, is just going to ride as hard as he can in all of the races. I'm not too sure. I haven't spoken to him, but Bas looking very, very strong now. He's shaken off Miguel Martinez, the attentions of the little Frenchman. He's trying hard to stay in second position. We saw that Roland Green was with Marcel Heller, and they are still together, just about 2 minutes down. Green leading up this climb. He's on the iDrive full suspension bike. Roland Green actually rode the Redlands Bicycle Classic, the road stage race before the Sea Otter Classic. Green was 4th in the Sea Otter overall, behind Rasmussen, who was 3rd, Brenjens, who was 2nd, and Van Dooren, who was 1st. And if I'm not mistaken, Van Dooren is going to win here. As we look at Bart Brenjens, the man who I mentioned, who's 2nd in the Sea Otter, he has come back from a puncture and is riding out of his skin now. The World Cup winner from 1994, the Olympic champion from 1996, and the world champion from 1995. Bart Brenjens, the Subaru Specialized rider, had a miserable season in 98, but he's coming back strong now. As we go back to the finish, and it looks like Bas van Dooren coming through for his 2nd ever World Cup win. He won in Plymouth last year. He's going to win the opening round of the Tissot World Cup this year, and he's stopping on the line, kisses the line. I think he's enjoyed this win, hasn't he? Great riding from the Dutchman. Lovely bloke. Couldn't go to a nicer rider. I think he might be a favourite for the World Championships, which this year will be in June. As Miguel Martinez comes round the corner for 2nd spot, he is so consistent. He won the World Cup back in 1997. He was 2nd in 1998, 2nd in 1999. He always gives it his all. Good riding from the full dynamics rider. His power to weight ratio is absolutely astonishing. And who's this coming through for 3rd? It's Marcel Heller, his best ever World Cup position. I think the Swiss rider is happy about that, isn't he? 2:19.46, just over 2 minutes down on the winner, Bas van Dooren. And it looks like Roland Green, he was beaten up by Marcel Heller, but this is his best ever World Cup position. Wow, lots of best ever World Cups, aren't there today? Brilliant riding. Well done, Roland. A new breed coming through now. What's happening to the old breed? It looks like there's a sprint for 5th spot. It looks like Bart Brenjens is going to get it. Super from Roberto Lozon. I think that was Frischnecht.
When I saw Miguel, he had slick tires on, and he slipped sometimes on the steep sandy climbs, and I had Michelin knob tires on, and then I had a little more grip in that climb, so I could kill him slowly, and also mentally, because you every time take 5 to 10 meters, that mentally kills the other one, and on the flat he has to close it every time.
So a second World Cup win for Bas van Dooren. Miguel Martinez, another top 3 finish. Marcel Heller, his first top 5 finish. Same for Roland Green in 4th. Bart Brent Jens coming back to form ominously in 2000. And Roberto Lozan in 6th spots. A great win there for Bas van Dooren. New riders coming through now. Miguel Martinez, one of the older riders, but he's still young. But Marcel Heller, Roland Green and Bart Brent Jens. Good win there for Bas. Join me for the next round from Mexico. Mark Bicycle on Eurosport saying bye-bye.
You know what fella's good for Bermuda.
The Mountain Bike World Cup with the Volvo V70 cross-country all-wheel drive.